Hey everyone, welcome to the Hey Hannah podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Maya Fields, but to my friends and those who know me well, I'm just Maya. I'm a higher education administrator, a mother, and a wife of 14 amazing years. But above all, I'm a Christ follower. This podcast is a special platform created to honor the memory of my beloved daughter, Hannah. It's here that I have the chance to have the conversations that I never got to have with her, to share the wisdom and love I wish I could have passed on. It's a reminder to cherish the precious moments we're given and a testament to the power of healing, hope, and personal growth. If you're someone who's seeking personal growth, inspiration, and practical advice to build a solid foundation for a successful and fulfilling life, this is a place for you. Join me as we honor Hannah's memory together. Laugh, cry, and learn. Get ready for a podcast that is so much more than you could ever imagine. The Hey Hannah podcast, healing hearts, one conversation at a time. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Hey Hannah podcast. I appreciate you all so much for continuing to tune in and support the show. Today we have an exciting guest with us. We have Coach Romany. He is a professional speaker, an inspirational leader, and a transformation specialist. But he has a ton of experience, and we are excited to have him share that experience with us today, because he has been working in education for over 18 years. And we always intertwine education, but we have a special mix today because we are going to get to hit on self-improvement as well. Coach Romany has coached young children in different sports. He works as an elementary school teacher, and he is really passionate about shaping future generations and helping others as they navigate their change process. So we are so thankful that he's taking some time to join us today, and definitely happy to have you. Coach Romany, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So, just to kind of jump right into it, because there are so many highlights and you have a wealth of experience in many different areas, I want to ask you, your journey is inspiring. You lost over 80 pounds, you do coach youth sports, and you've been in education for nearly 2 decades, so a lot of time there. Can you share what first sparked your own personal journey?
My own personal journey is really, I took time to reflect upon myself. It really started, go really deep into it about 3 years ago. Let's backtrack a little bit. 2020, March
Mhm.
2020. We all remember March 2020. For me,
Absolutely.
it hit personally. Mom was diagnosed with liver cancer. She had just fought breast cancer. She was a survivor for 20 years.
Hmm.
So we took her to the hospital and boom, COVID hits. So with the COVID hitting, me being in town, I was the last visitor. So I got to spend, like, it was a blessing for me. For me, it was a blessing because I got to
Hmm.
spend last 4 months with my mom every day from March until the end of May when she passed away. So I really got to be there with her and take
Yeah.
care of her along with my help with my family. And then dad came down with Alzheimer's as it was going in progress. So we just
Yeah.
moved from mom, taking care of mom, to taking care of dad. We put dad in a retirement home with memory loss. And I was with him 4 or 5 times a week because he was in a home.
Yeah.
Once again, only visitor. So my time was focused on taking care of dad. First mom, then dad. Dad passed. And I said, what are you going to do now with all your time? And my eldest daughter said, take care of yourself, dad. Take care of yourself. I was about 296 at that point. I tried different ways to lose weight and I wasn't really that focused. So I
Hmm.
said, I'm gonna put the focus back on me. And that's what started for me is I started my health journey that way. At first I thought, wow, you're selfish, just taking care of you. And it felt hard at first because I was dedicating so much time to me. But
Yeah.
as I started going through it, I realized this is meant to be because I'm transforming myself to make myself better to help others.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and through that transformation, I was able to follow the process that I knew about, I read about, but I didn't actually live it yet.
Hmm.
So I got a chance to live the whole process of reaching my own level of greatness. And through that, I recorded the lessons, I posted on the media, and I was able to take some of the lessons that I've been teaching my students and my players for years and put that into practice. And it really changed who I am.
Mhm.
It made me better. It made me a better coach, a better teacher, hopefully a better person, along with the health benefits of it as well. And I
Yeah.
said, you know what? You have something to share with people. You have something to share. So I would do the posts. But I said, people need to hear the message that you have about change is possible
Yeah.
and how to make that change. But more importantly, everybody's change is different. And that's really the key focus on where I started was saying, you can't be like everybody else.
Mhm.
That's where I came along with the slogan, be different, be great, because I wanted to do something different than what I was doing before. But I also didn't want to be like everybody else who accepts who they are, but doesn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I agree with accepting who you are, embrace it. But if you're not happy, completely happy, don't settle. And that's one of the things that really frustrates me is when people are in a tough situation and they think they have to settle. You don't have to settle.
Yeah.
You can be
Absolutely.
aware, be practical, but say, yeah, I can change. I can be better. So how do I help them be better? And that's where it all started.
Wow, that is definitely that's a strong journey, even just getting to where you were. And I admire that even after all of that process, you had a desire to still kind of focus your passion and your energy on helping other people after you've already, been through so much yourself and then actually making your own change. Being that, okay, you went through your process and then you are in education, so you're working with students and you're coaching players. From your perspective, what do you think is the biggest barrier for people when they want to change? Like you touched on it, people want to change, but they don't actually make the change. What is the biggest hurdle for people, you think, when they want to change, but they don't actually take that next step?
I'd probably say the biggest hurdle is the first step, being aware of what you need to do, but being aware of getting the help as well.
Yeah.
We all know there's a saying, you got to do the work, you got to do the grind. And that's what I talk about in the first chapter, being aware and accepting who you are, but also realizing that you can't do it alone. Especially in today's society we're at, I think we have too much information sometimes, and we can get information overload.
Yeah.
I always preach about finding yourself a good mentor, a good coach, not just because I'm a coach, but I saw the benefits of having a really great coach along beside me. I'll give you my first instance was I sat down with her. She's a friend of mine, but I said to her, I'm not your friend, I'm your client. So we talked about simple things like eating. And I would look back and she said, here's what you're eating. Here's your carbohydrates. Here's all the little details. And I said, what about smoothies? And I would go home and I would make myself all those frozen berries and strawberries and banana. And she said, they have carbs in them. I said, what? Eating way too many carbs a day. But I'm just eating fruit.
Yeah.
Well, no, you got to get more vegetables in it. So little things like just knowing sometimes a little bit of knowledge is dangerous.
Mhm.
So I didn't have the proper knowledge on how to do things. And so she taught me how to do that. And that changed. I still have fruit once in a while, but I'm more veggies than a fruit guy now.
Yeah.
And just knowing that and having someone work with me. She worked with me. She taught me how to train, how often to train, what to eat before I train, how to how to push yourself harder. And so she was beside me she got me on my journey. Now I don't pay for the service anymore, but she's a friend of mine, so she's still there supporting me. And
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm lucky to be in a community at the gym I go to where we support each other. So I do the work, but I have the support system in place. And
Absolutely.
people have to realize you got to get the support. You got to talk to somebody, whether it's a therapist, it's a coach, a friend. The greatest thing you can do for yourself is asking for help. In the past, it was back in my younger days, it was asking for help was a sign of used to be thought of as a sign of weakness.
Yeah,
It's not. It's not, because you know what? It's not easy asking for help.
that's
It is
true.
not easy saying, "Help me. I need help." It's easy for a math question because that's just your way of getting out of it. But to say, "I need help with this. I can't do it by myself." Opening yourself up for help is the first thing you gotta do.
Yeah,
Open yourself up for help, get the guidance, have someone teach you the process to change, and that's really probably the hardest thing
I
is
like
knowing where to
that.
start.
It also creates, as you were saying that, I was thinking it also creates another level of accountability. And it's
Absolutely.
like now you're verbalizing the thing that's in your head. And sometimes you're like, you're kind of toying with a goal. But then now you're saying it and it's becoming real. And then now I've told you that I want to do this. And so, oh my goodness, you might ask me about it. How is it going? Like there's another level of accountability. You can't just, it's not just between you and your thoughts. It's like you're really making this thing real. You're going to have a go at it. So I do think that's a great piece of advice. Asking for help, getting that support, just kind of speaking it out there.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, the accountability factor is so huge. Like, I gotta interrupt for a second.
yeah.
But there are some people out there who say, "Don't tell people your goals, just go out and do them." Well, I created a second TikTok account just about my goals. Now,
Yeah.
it's not for public. It's people I have a lot of followers, but I said, "You know what? I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna tell people on the web, on the internet, social media, that these are my goals." So they're following me, and I hold
That's
myself
brave.
accountable to them, right? So it's like it's my fitness account, but I got followers on there who push me, so I give them the updates. So it's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna give myself another form of accountability
Yeah.
to go out there.
That's definitely another form of accountability for sure when you have the, general public who are all in on your goals as well. So kudos to you for taking a large step of accountability. Now we're focusing today on the process to greatness. You talk about this a lot. Can you break down what that means and what the key steps are in that process?
Yeah, the key steps are, as I mentioned earlier, acceptance and awareness,
Mhm.
and then we move on to action. Then we move into accountability, and all three of them work together. So I'm gonna walk you through them quickly. You have to accept where you are. Be
Mhm.
aware where you are. Just like when you're driving a car, you got to know where you stop, where you are, and where you want to go. Once you're able to accept that, okay, I'm not where I want to be. I'm aware that I want to make a change. I'm aware that I'm going to make the change, and I accept the help. Once you get that, you can take that next step towards the action. When you're going through the actions, you work with someone, you find the process, and you do the grind. Sometimes that grind is going to be quiet and then silent, and not everybody's going to see that.
Mhm.
There's the old saying that you work in the darkness so you can shine in the light. It's so true, because not everybody's going to see all the hard work. They're not going to see all the, I'm not going to say the meals that you skip, but the choices you make in eating.
Yeah.
When you go for that extra salad instead of that extra burger, but no one sees those. But that's what you got to do. You have to do the work. You got to do the actions. You do the actions. You work it out. You keep grinding. For all of that, you got to be accountable. Accountable to yourself, accountable to others, open to accountability. Accountability is one of the factors that we often overlook is that we don't like criticism in general. Personally, I love the criticism because I know that the people who are criticizing me are doing it to make me better. Because I don't, there's someone that said, I think it was Denzel or someone said, would you accept criticism from someone you wouldn't take their advice from? So don't worry about it. If you wouldn't take their advice, don't take their criticism. But I'm fortunate. I have a really great mentor at work. I got a great mentor at school and at the gym. But my basketball players hold me accountable every day.
Yeah.
And my students hold me accountable for my actions. And when I mess up, I want them to tell me. As I coach young players, the parents hold me accountable.
Yeah.
They support me to death. But I can recall one situation I'll never forget is I focused one weekend on the W's too much. And I didn't put people in the best situation to be successful. I didn't play people the way I should have played them on the court. And someone said, "That's not you, coach." I said, "You're absolutely right." So I sat back. I talked to the girls afterwards the next day. I apologized. I said to them, that wasn't who I should be. And that wasn't a reflection on you, it was a reflection on me. I owned my actions. And we came back and we dominated the rest of the year. But it's because someone stood up and made me accountable for my actions.
Yeah.
Because I can preach it, but I gotta walk it as well. And as a coach, I've always said it's not about the W's. And I found myself too focused on where I shouldn't have been focused. And so someone brought me back and then brought me back to my why. So that's where the accountability comes into. When I went through my journey, hey, the best accountability on a weight loss journey is a scale. So so I would weigh myself morning and night to make sure I was on track, and I would go through that. And part of the accountability is making adjustments because
Yeah.
it's not smooth. It's that whole iceberg thing where you don't see what happens underneath the water or the duck. The duck is the best one. You ever seen a duck? A duck looks nice and smooth above water, but they're paddling like crazy
Oh,
underwater.
yeah.
So you got to be able to make those adjustments. And when you make those adjustments, it goes right back to being aware of where you are. And then you redo the actions, redo the plan. Don't spin the wheel. If you're spinning the wheel for too long, I don't know. It's a fine line though, because you got to believe in what you're doing.
Mhm.
You got if it's the right thing. If you've done the work, the research, you're doing the process, you're not cheating yourself, then you can make the adjustments that you need to make. And that's what it all comes down to. You do all of those, you're going to be fine. Now, it's not easy. It is not. And the other thing people need to know, this is very important. Not everybody's going to like it. Not
Mhm.
everybody's going to be on board.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to understand what your passion is about. They may support it quietly, but you're not going to get the rah-rah support that you thought you were going to get. So it's okay. If you believe in yourself and you know you're doing the right thing, keep going. Those doubters, they're going to stop asking you, what are you doing? They're going to ask you, wow, how did you do it? How? They're going to stop asking the why. They're going to start saying, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Make them believers.
Wow. Because, yeah, that transformation's taking place right in front of their eyes. You touched on something. I just kind of want to expand on it a little bit. People, it's very normal to be resistant to change. It comes with that level of uncomfortability and fear, even if you know something's good for you, not necessarily wanting to get into that space to change. How do you help people through that discomfort or that fear so they can get to that new version of themselves?
I let them know that it's okay. It's going to hurt sometimes. Being uncomfortable is where you grow. If you want scientific proof when you're looking at transforming your body, just look at basically how your muscles grow. Your muscles grow because you have to break them. You have to break those muscle fibers in order for them to regrow and get bigger. That's why the old saying in the 70s was no pain, no gain. And those of us who lift on a regular basis, we like that soreness because we know that soreness means growth. It's a strange concept. Saying, wow, it hurts. It's a good hurt. It
Yeah.
hurts because it means you're growing. When you're nervous, that means you're alive. When you're scared of something, that means you're alive and it's worth it
Yeah.
because you're going for it. If you go into anything with no nerves, then you're not really ready. It's not that challenging.
Yeah.
It's not that challenging. My basketball players, every day I tell them to make mistakes. Push yourself a little bit harder. It's going to hurt, but it's going to be worth it because that's where change happens. We all know the saying, growth comes when you leave your comfort zone. But you gotta be able to show them, yeah, you gotta break something to make it better sometimes.
Yeah, I really like that muscle analogy. That's a good one. I could picture that. And that's one that I think is very relatable to many people. You just kind of keep in mind to keep yourself encouraged. Switching gears a little bit because you talk a good bit about social and emotional learning. And I'm just curious, how does emotional intelligence, in your opinion, contribute to personal growth and leadership?
It's the foundation. It's a mindset thing.
Hmm.
Schools came on board with the growth mindset 3, 4 years ago, but I've been doing it for 10 years plus. And you gotta be able to say, I will do it. It's how you phrase the things you do. I have a saying, chop wood, carry water. I took it from Josh Medcalf. That's what I do every day is I exercise and eat right every day. But it's not something I have to do. It's something I want to do. Change the way you look at things.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to the gym every day. I want to go to the gym every day. I have the opportunity to go to the gym every day. My players, you don't have to go to practice. You have the opportunity to go to practice. Students, you don't have to read. You have an opportunity to read. And be grateful. We talk about gratitude a lot, but be grateful for those opportunities. Don't look at it as things you have to do. I have a to-do list, but my working out and getting better is not on my to-do list. It's my must-do list. So you change your to-do list to must-do. Because when it's
Yeah.
to-do, it's when I get around to it. Well, when I get around to it. You want to change? You change that to-do list to must-do list. This is what I must do every day. I must get my proper sleep. I must eat properly. I must make myself better. Sleep is important. Kobe's in my background, and we all know about Kobe 4 a.m. workouts. Kobe was different. Okay, we all don't have to get up at 5. If you get up go to bed at 9 if you're getting up at 5. Okay, but you still need that sleep. You can't go to
Yeah.
bed at 12 and get up at 4 and expect to make yourself better. It's not working that way. But you have to, excuse my ears, you have to be able to change the way you look at things.
Yeah.
Once you change the way you look at things, everything will change. The opportunity to get up every day. I don't want to get too deep into it, but how lucky are we to get up every day? How lucky am I to talk to Dr. Maya today? It wasn't something that I put on my must do. Hey, this is something I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to sharing with Dr. Maya. It's not something I have to do. That's the way you look at it. You look at the things
Yeah.
as an opportunity to get, and we all love opportunities. Who
Oh,
doesn't
yeah,
want an
that's true.
opportunity? Okay. Who doesn't want an opportunity?
That's true. And that's a really good perspective. And when you have that mindset shift, your attitude kind of falls in line, with these are the things I get to do. And it kind of takes that if you have not the best attitude, your attitude is going to get in line with what you're saying and how your mind is viewing things as well. So I really like that. A great perspective to share for sure. Now, for our listeners who are working toward their own goals, what's one habit or mindset shift that they can start today that will put them on their own path to greatness?
The best habit I'd probably say is celebrate your victories. Celebrate the small ones. Take time to celebrate the small victories and build on those. We all have big goals. We call them the mega goals, but we need those little goals every day as well. If your goal is 3 times a week, celebrate those 3 times a week. Celebrate it. If your goal is to hit your projects 3 times, your 3 projects once a day, do that and celebrate it. And if you miss it, that's okay. Get back to it. Don't dwell on the negative. I was talking with someone recently about how important it is to celebrate the victories, but also acknowledge the losses.
Yeah.
Acknowledge that things aren't always going to be absolutely perfect. The best thing I have is probably the best speeches I give was when I talk to players who lose championship games. They've worked so hard for them. And I'll talk to them afterwards because they're grown men at this point, 16, 17, high school guys I talk to after games. And I go up to them, I say, like, I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your butt and tell you everything's going to be okay. And that it's only a game. Because to them, it's not just a game. But I do tell them, yeah, it doesn't feel right. But don't let it determine the rest of your life, your week. Take one day, acknowledge it, and then move on.
Yeah.
They say cry for 12 hours and move on. And that's what it's about. Same thing with the victories. Take your victories and your losses, learn from them, grow from them, and then keep moving forward. Don't live in the past. So many guys out there. I like going to high school football games, watching all these dads who played when they were in high school, thinking they're all that. Dude, it was in high school 20 years ago. Get over it. Okay? Let your kids play. Let your kids play.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure I didn't even think about it, but in coaching, you're always kind of navigating either we won, what did we learn, or we lost, what did we learn? And I think a lot of times we want to like quickly separate ourselves from the loss or the failure, like, oh, I'm done with it. I want to be over it. And we can learn just as much from our failures as we can from our wins if we take the time to sit with it and figure out, okay, what was my lesson here? Because there's still a lesson, even though you don't necessarily feel great about it. It wasn't the outcome, obviously, you hope for. No one goes in and like, yeah, I want to lose, but there's still something to learn there. And I think that's a very important point that you highlighted. There's growth taking place there if we take the time to sit with it and figure out what it is.
Yeah. I always tell my players that we don't lose, we learn.
There you go.
There's more to be learned from a loss than there is from a win. Because from
Yeah.
a win, you're up high and everything you did was working. From a loss, you take what you got. Okay. How can I get better? How can I improve? How can I make sure this doesn't happen again? Or maybe we don't lose by as much next time. How can I get better? It's about getting better. And losses let you do that. You don't focus on them, you don't dwell on them. Use them as fuel, use them as lessons, probably most important.
Absolutely. Well, Nigel, I want to ask you, where can our listeners connect with you, learn more about your book, and follow more of your work? Are you on social media? You have your own website? Can you share
Uh,
that info with us?
I have all that fun stuff. CoachRomany.ca, www.coachromany.ca, because I'm Canadian, is the website. All my social media is Coach Romany. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. I threw a lot of messages on TikTok and Instagram. Inspirational. I share some of my stories. I have my team website, which is a different website, a different Instagram, but that's where I share my message with people. And that's where I want to be able for people to learn and listen. And that's really what helped inspire me is that how you get the feedback. Yeah, good job, coach. Thanks, coach. I need like some of the simple messages I would just give people. And you get random guys. I don't know who they are. Thanks, coach. I needed that. Thanks, coach. I needed that. And being an old guy like myself, being called Unc from some of these guys is, hey, that's kind of cool. Okay. When you get Deion Sanders being called Unc and you're called Unc, yeah, all right. I'm doing all right for an old guy.
I'll take that. I'll take it. You just never know who you're encouraging when you're speaking
Exactly.
that positivity and sharing your message. You don't know what people need and what moment they're in their life. So it's amazing
Exactly.
that you continue to do that. And as always, everyone, I will link all of that information in the notes. So if you did not have a pen, don't worry. You can check our show notes and you will be able to get Coach Romany's contact information so you can still connect on social media with him and get some of those inspirational messages. Now, we end all of our episodes with the same question. So I want to ask you as we wrap things up, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received or one piece of advice you would share with someone you deeply care about?
Best piece of advice I would share with anybody is be yourself. Being different is absolutely fabulous. It makes you who you are. I'm a daughter of four young ladies, beautiful young ladies. And Each of them is different in their own way. And that's what I love about each of them, is that they look up to each other. But I don't think one has tried to be like the other purposely. One's a mother with the baby on another one on the way. Massage her. Another one's an EA who's different. She's into the arts. One's an event planner. One's still trying to find her life. But as beautiful as they all are different in their own way. And I don't try to steer them which way or the other. I just support them. And I love seeing how they're strong young women because they believe in themselves.
That's amazing. I love it. Be yourself. That's absolutely true. And we all need that constant reminder about our
It's
own
okay. It's
uniqueness.
okay to be, you don't have to be like everybody else. Like as students, I'm not going to go on quickly, but sometimes if you're in a crazy class and everybody's being loud and obnoxious, I've had them. Be the kid who's quiet and does their work. It's hard. It's really hard. But it's cool. It's okay. As a basketball player, be the one who stays out and takes those extra shots. Be the one who does that extra. Be different. Wear that crazy shirt if you want to wear that crazy shirt. Have differences and embrace
Absolutely.
and love them.
Absolutely. Coach Romany, it was such a joy to chat with you today. It was so good to have you and be inspired by your wise words and get to hear just so much wisdom from you and hopefully encouragement to you all who are listening to make your own positive change. As always, I appreciate you all continuing to join in. Don't forget to connect with us on all of our social media channels. We're on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn, we're on X, and even Instagram. So make sure that you continue the conversation there with us and share your wins, share your growth, share your goals. We are always happy to support you as a community. So please share that with us on social media as well. As always, I appreciate you continuing to tune in. And until next time, everybody, take care.
Take care, everybody.
And that's it. I'm out of here.
So much for joining us on this episode of the Hey Hannah podcast. We hope that you found inspiration, insight, and encouragement in our conversation today. If you enjoyed this episode and want to stay connected with us, be sure to like, subscribe, and review the Hey Hannah podcast. Your feedback helps us reach more people and spread our message of love and wisdom. You can also follow us on social media at Hey Hannah Podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to stay updated on all the latest episodes, behind-the-scenes exclusives, and engaging content. And for those of you who prefer the visual experience, catch the video versions of our podcast on our YouTube channel. Just search Hey Hannah Podcast and hit that subscribe button to never miss an episode. For even more Hey Hannah goodness, visit our website at www.heyhannahpodcast.com. There you'll find updates, bonus content, and join a community that embraces you with open arms. Your continued support truly means the world to us. Together, let's spread love, share wisdom, and honor every precious moment. Because here at Hey Hannah, we believe that life is meant to be lived well. Remember, a new episode of the Hey Hannah podcast is released every Wednesday, so mark your calendars and be sure to tune in. Thank you again for being a part of Hannah's Hive. Until next time, take care.
entertainment.